All right, y'all, here we go. To the right here, you have your cover page for your research paper. Please pay attention, take note. This is what you are to do. A third of the way down from the top, you will type your title page. You will hit return twice, and then you will type your name, first name, last name. Not your first name and your middle, but your first name and your last name. You will then hit the return space one, two, three, roughly four times, and then you will type the course name, your instructor's name, and the due date for the assignment. So, something that I've noticed is that oftentimes our titles aren't as strong as they should be. So I have a recommendation for you, if you will. I'm asking that you include Fahrenheit 451, an exploration of how themes in the novel reflect in today's society, and then you will follow up with your guiding question, the question that you wrote that is guiding your research, the question that you use to turn into your thesis statement. Moving on. To the right here, we have an example of what your typed research paper should look like. Page numbering is in the upper right corner, your last name, and then the page number. It's also important to know some instructors will not require that the first page be numbered. So always remember to follow the instructor's guidelines. Miss McKinney wants a page number. Heading, your name, instructor's name, course number, the date. Please note you've got double spacing here. Title, centered. Please note double spacing. Alignment, left justification. All of the text is flush left. Font size, 12-point font. Not 14, not 11, not 18, not 10, but 12-point font. And if you notice, this is also a standard font. So you're expected to use fonts like Times Roman, Helvetica, Arial, Garamond, because those fonts are easy to read. In other words, just say no to fancy fonts. Here we have a closer look at what the top of your first page should look like, and is more specific to the margins. Now, when you go to header and footer in your word processor, be it Google Drive or Word, the headings are automatically measured at a half an inch, so you shouldn't have to make any adjustments. However, for your margins around the text, you will have to set those for 1 inch so that they are measured at 1 inch from the top, left, right, and the bottom. Top, bottom, left, right, 1 inch. And will I be so petty as to measure them? Yes. If you look at the bullets, you have more specifics related to what I just explained. I will not read through the bullets. However, you should, and you should take note of the bulleted information for future reference. Here we have some additional guidelines for the research paper. Some of it has already been addressed. However, again, you are responsible for reading each bullet and making sure that you have notes in your writing notebook regarding the research paper format. Signal phrases. We've already discussed the importance of having transitional phrases and how those transition words and phrases connect the evidence and our explanation, our commentary, so that our thoughts are clear and cohesive. So here's another phrase, signal phrase, word phrase that's essential to your writing, and it's called the attributive tag. I believe we may have referenced this once before, but I will go through each of these bullets because doing this avoids you from being guilty, or prevents you from being guilty of plagiarism. Signal phrases or attributive tags are an essential element of research writing. They introduce source material, indicate where source material comes from, shape your reader's response to a source through appropriate word choice. So, how do you write a signal phrase? Signal phrases can be a single word, a phrase, or a sentence. They can appear before or after a quote, a paraphrase, or a summary. They often include verbs. Be sure your word choice fits the context of the source. I want to go back to the second bullet here where it says that the attributive tag can be used with a paraphrase or a summary. You cannot paraphrase someone else's work and claim it as your own. You must include an attributive tag. Here we have examples of exactly how to do that. According to, and then we have the name of the author and then the author's title, comma, the quote that's being borrowed from the author's work. Here's another example. A recent study at Harvard University claims that, comma, and then you'll include your quote, and there's this reference to the citation. And what that is the actual page number. I didn't give you guys an example or a model of that, so don't worry about the citation right now. We'll do that the next time we have a writing assignment. But for now, I am definitely, absolutely checking to make sure that you have the proper use of attributive tags. Failure to do so would be plagiarism. All of the information required for your tag is there on your note cards. It's there in your article. It's a reference to the author. It's a reference to author and title if it's available. It's a reference to author and title of the source. So don't forget that. Again, we have some bulleted information about the works cited page. Read through it, follow the steps, take note for future reference. And here's an example of a works cited page. So some of you may be familiar with works cited pages already. Others of you, maybe not. So we have something that's called a bibliography. A bibliography is a list of all of the books that you refer to as a researcher. A works cited page is a list of all of the books or resources, be they articles, online articles, newspaper articles, journals, professional journals, that you actually include in your research paper. So I'll say that again. The bibliography is a list of all books that the researcher has referred to. The works cited page is a list of all of the books included in the actual research. So the format is the same. You have 1-inch margin. You'll continue with your last name and the page number in the upper right corner. It will continue to be double spaced, and you will continue to have left justification. There is one thing that's different when it comes to the indentation. I want to point out that all of the authors are listed by last name and in alpha order. But when you return, you indent the second line, and it's called a hanging tab. I'll say that again. All of the authors are listed in alpha order by last name. And then after you hit return, you will then indent to create what is called a hanging tab. I'm also going to point out this right here is a basic entry for a works cited page where we have author's last name, comma, first name, period, title of the article, period. Articles are always in quotations. Title of the magazine where the text was found, date, colon, page numbers referenced, comma, print, period. I'm putting an emphasis on the punctuation because your failure to include the punctuation could result and the loss of points. Read the bulleted information and follow the